Right, hi there again. This is another how-to guide of adjusting the race car game which we've looked at before and turn it into a car collection game. Now, if you remember from before, this is quite a straightforward game where you just control the car and it moves around the screen, avoiding the green on the side, and you get to the end and you win. What we're going to have a go with is try and turn it into this game here, which if I start the green flag, I have a car which I can control, I have spanners I need to collect, and also I have a car I need to avoid. Now this should be the part 1 of 2, so let's get cracking and adjust our game. So, the first thing to do is to ideally open up your old car race game if you've already made one. And you want to keep quite a lot of the programming, which is why it's good to base it on this. First thing we're going to do is change the stage. So I'm going to go to backgrounds. I'm going to paint a brand new background. I'm going to make it predominantly grey, and then I'm going to add some green sort of bushes on the edge, which the car, or in the car, ideally we're going to try and avoid. I'm going to try and make it look a little bit rough. Get a bit in the middle. I'll have a little bit around the edge. You can make this as complicated or as easy as you want. And then I'm going to click OK. So there's my brand new background. I can delete the old one. I do not need it anymore. Then I'm going to click on our sprite and go back to scripts. A lot of this information I still want. I just want to double check though that I've got the color right. So I'm just going to click and check the color. So that's fine. And I'm going to get rid of this piece of program because we've no longer got a purple finish line. Don't need that anymore. I'm also going to get rid of the timer because this isn't a really timed game. So I'm going to get rid of the timer and untick the timer button. Don't need it anymore. It's not important. The first thing we're going to do is we need to reset where the car starts. You could start up here if you want to, but I like it down at the bottom. So I'm just going to click here. You see my X and Y coordinates have changed, so I just need to change it on here. It's quicker just to type it in than muck around dragging the box back in. And I've just clicked on it so it's moved, of course. And this one is minus 130. Now it's currently pointed in minus 90. I'd like it in plus 90. So I'm just going to swap that to plus 90. So that's right. I'm going to duplicate that because I need to change this one as well. So now, I run the game, it starts at the beginning, and when I go off, it brings me back to the beginning, which is great, which is exactly what I want. That's our first step done, that's our basics. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to make our items to collect. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to, in a second, click on the sprite, but first things first, I need to change the name of this to a car 1. It will be clear why I'm doing that in a second. It is important for the sprite part. So I'm going to click on Paint New Sprites, and I'm going to be very unoriginal, and I'm going to paint a spanner, if I can make it a good spanner. It doesn't have to be perfect. Doubling the spanner. Right, and then I click OK. Now that's way too big, which is fine, because I can use the shrink tool to make it a bit smaller. Now it's nice and small. I'm going to move it around. There is a slight problem you can see. Of course, it's the same color as the background. So I'm just going to go back to costumes. I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to turn it into a darker shade. I'm just going to fill it, and then that way, there you go. Yeah, it shows up on the background. Slight issue, but fine, we fixed it. Right, click on scripts, and we're going to do two things with this. One, we're going to make it move. You don't have to, but it's something worth doing. So I'm going to drag on when green flag is clicked, and I just want it to spin. So if I click it, just see what happens. It only spins once because of course we've forgotten to follow it for forever. So it's spinning. It is spinning quite fast. So I'm going to change it to 10 degrees, and that's a little bit better. You can play around with that and change that if you want to. And just click stop it working, or stop it moving. So that's it moving. Now, I want to collect these. I want to get points for collecting these. So I need to drag on some new information. So I'm going to again drag on when the green flag is clicked box, and I want it to happen forever. And if something happens, now I'm going to go to sensing, and if it is touching the car, which is, you can see why I've changed the name now, car 1, I want it to hide. I want it to vanish and to give me a point. So I'm going to go to looks, looks, yes, that was the right place. I'm going to go to hide, and then I'm going to go to, I need to add points to it. Now, I'm going to go to variables and I need to make a score, which I can't spell, that's better. All sprites, and I'm going to add 1 to my score. Now, something I have missed off here, which is important as you play the game, you'll see it if you play it straight away, is I need to actually tell the spanner to show itself again. So at the beginning of the game it shows itself, otherwise you won't be able to see it. Now, let's just quickly play this. Move the car, the spanner vanishes, and the score goes up by 1, which works perfectly. I'm going to click stop. And if I click the green button again, it resets, and the spanner reappears. I'm just going to hit stop, because now, this is why we've done it this way, I'm going to duplicate this spanner a number of times, and I've made sure that I can see it, because otherwise you duplicate it when it's hidden. So click duplicate, another spanner, duplicate again. If I could just keep doing this quickly, I'll just get a number of them. So I should have 6 there. Then I can click on them, drag them around my field so we can collect them. There you go. So, right. So that's absolutely perfect. There's my 6 spanners. If I click play, you can see them all spinning. I am going to stop them at the moment. Now, what we need to do is we need to make me win. I want to add the score up. So I'm going to go back to the car, because this is important to happen on the car. The car is going to win. And then I'm going to go to control, and again when clicked, and I want to tell me I've won when I've collected all 6 of the spanners. So we're going to go to wait until, which is on this one. So when the green control is, we're going to wait until we are our lives. When you have to go to operators, our lives is equal to our score, is equal to 6. That means you've got to collect all 6 of them. And then at that point, go back to looks, and we say, well done, you've won. You have won. And then we end the game, which we don't often use, but we're going to stop everything stops. The only thing we need to remember this is, of course, we need to reset the score when we start the game. So we will put this at the top. So when we start the game, the score is 0, because at the moment it's 2 still from earlier on. We wait until it's 6, and then we win the game. So let's just test that, because that's what we have to do all the way through this, keep testing. And then I'm going to go up, so score 1, score 2, 3, 4, 5, and can we do it in one hit? 6. Well done, you have won. And then that stops. The game stops. You can still move the car, but the game stops. That is the end of part 1, and in part 2, we are going to add in some lives and an enemy car to avoid.